Have you ever watched your entire world collapse in front of hundreds of people? I have. The man I had loved in silence for years looked me in the eyes and rejected me as his mate. Everyone laughed. They called me weak, worthless, a mistake the moon goddess had made. But 3 days later, I died, and when I opened my eyes again, the moon goddess smiled at me and said something that changed my life forever. Welcome home, my child. If you're wondering how an unwanted Omega became the most feared woman in the werewolf world, let me tell you my story. My name is Lyra Ashwood, or at least, that's the name I grew up believing was mine. For 18 years, I lived as the weakest Omega in the Silver Moon Pack. No family, no friends, no wolf. Most werewolves hear their wolf's voice before they turn 16. I heard nothing, just silence. The elders called me cursed. The children called me a freak. The adults pretended I didn't exist. Every morning, I'd wake up hoping things would be different. Every night, I'd go to bed realizing they never would be. Sometimes I wondered if the moon goddess had simply forgotten to create me properly. The only place I ever felt at peace was the lake hidden deep inside the forest. I'd sit there for hours, throwing little stones into the water while imagining a different life. A life where someone actually cared if I existed. Maybe that's why I kept dreaming about him. Alpha Kale Blackthorn. I never understood those dreams. In every single one, he'd smile at me, hold my hand, tell me I was safe. Then I'd wake up and remember that in real life, he barely knew my name. The day of the mate ceremony arrived. Every unmated wolf in the pack gathered beneath the ancient moon tree. The entire village looked beautiful. Silver lanterns hung from the branches. Children ran around laughing. Musicians played soft melodies while couples whispered excitedly about finding their destined mates. Everyone looked happy. Everyone except me. I stood near the back of the crowd, hoping no one would notice me. Unfortunately, that had never worked before. Look who's here. A familiar voice made my stomach sink. I turned around and saw Clara, the beta's daughter. Beautiful, powerful, and the person who had spent the last 10 years making my life miserable. She looked me up and down before laughing. Seriously, Lyra? You actually came? Her friends burst into laughter. What did you expect? Another girl sneered. That Alpha Kale would suddenly fall in love with an Omega? Someone shoved my shoulder. I stumbled backward. More laughter. I heard even rogues reject weaker wolves than her. I almost feel sorry for the moon goddess. No, don't. Even she probably regrets making Lyra. Every word felt like another knife. But I smiled anyway. Not because I was strong. Because I had learned something years ago. Bullies get bored when they don't see you cry. The ceremony finally began. The pack elder stepped onto the sacred stone. His voice echoed through the valley. Tonight, the moon goddess reveals the souls destined to walk together. One by one, wolves found their mates. Some cried. Some laughed. Parents hugged their children. Even strangers celebrated together. I clapped for them, even though every happy couple reminded me of everything I'd never have. Then, something happened. For the first time in my life, I heard a voice inside my head. Soft, gentle, barely a whisper. Mate. I froze. My heart started pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. No. I whispered. I finally have a wolf? The voice repeated. Mate. Without thinking, I looked up, and that's when our eyes met. Alpha Kale. He was staring directly at me. Not past me. Not through me. At me. His golden eyes widened. His body went completely still. The entire crowd noticed. Silence spread through the ceremony. I couldn't breathe. Every instinct inside me told me one impossible truth. He was my mate. Kale started walking toward me. Every step felt unreal. The strongest alpha in the north. walking toward the weakest omega. The whispers began immediately. It can't be. No way. The alpha's mate is her. I wanted to run. I wanted to hide. But my feet refused to move. He stopped just inches away from me. For a moment, everything disappeared. The crowd, the forest, the moon. It was just us. He looked into my eyes, and I saw something I'd never expected. Fear. Not disgust. Not anger. Fear. His jaw tightened. His fists clenched. Then, he leaned closer. For one beautiful second, I thought he was going to mark me. Instead, he whispered loud enough for the entire pack to hear. I reject you. I didn't understand. My mind refused to process the words. What? His voice became louder, colder. I, Alpha Kale Blackthorn, reject Lyra Ashwood as my mate. The pain hit instantly. It felt like someone had reached inside my chest and ripped my heart apart with their bare hands. I screamed. My knees slammed into the ground. The entire world blurred. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I could only feel. Feel the bond tearing itself apart. Feel my soul breaking. Above me, people started laughing. Actually laughing. The Alpha rejected her. I've never seen that happen before. She's too pathetic even for the moon goddess. Someone threw dirt at me. Another person spat near my feet. Not one person tried to help. Not one. I looked up at Kale through blurry eyes. Maybe he'd change his mind. Maybe he'd realize what he'd done. Instead, he turned around. Without looking back. Without a single trace of regret. I don't remember leaving the ceremony. I only remember walking. My legs moved on their own. Eventually, I reached the lake. My lake. The one place where I'd always felt safe. I stared at my reflection. I barely recognized the girl looking back at me. Red eyes. Messy hair. Broken smile. Maybe they're right. I whispered. Maybe I really don't belong anywhere. A tear fell into the water. Then another. Suddenly, the surface of the lake rippled. Even though there wasn't any wind. I frowned. What? Then I heard it. A woman's voice. Soft. Warm. Filled with sadness. My child. I spun around. Who's there? Nothing. Only trees. Silence. I laughed bitterly. I've finally gone crazy. I stepped closer to the water. Maybe disappearing wouldn't be so bad. No one would miss me. Not the pack. Not Kale. Not even the moon goddess. Right? Before I could take another step, something sliced through the air. Thud. Pain exploded through my chest. I looked down. An arrow. Black. Covered in strange dark poison. Blood soaked my dress. My knees gave out. I collapsed into the cold lake. As the water closed over me, I saw someone standing on the shore. A hooded man. Holding a bow. He watched me sink. Then quietly said, "Forgive me, princess." Princess? I wanted to ask what he meant, but darkness swallowed me before I could speak. I expected death. Instead, I woke beneath a silver sky filled with floating moon petals. I wasn't cold anymore. I wasn't in pain. I slowly stood. Where am I? A gentle laugh echoed behind me. I turned. A woman dressed in shimmering silver robes stood a few steps away. Her eyes looked older than time itself. She smiled at me like a mother seeing her daughter after a long journey. "I've waited a very long time for you, Lyra." Something inside me told me to kneel. I didn't know why. I simply knew. My voice trembled. "Who are you?" She stepped closer. Her fingertips brushed my forehead. Instantly, every flower around us bloomed with silver light. Then she answered with a smile that sent chills through my entire soul. "I am the moon goddess." When I realized the moon goddess already knew my name, I should have been happy. Instead, I was terrified, because the first thing she said wasn't, "Welcome." It was, "I'm sorry I couldn't save your parents." For a long moment, I couldn't speak. I just stared at the woman standing in front of me. She looked exactly how every elder had described her. Beautiful, gentle, radiant. But there was something else in her eyes. Guilt. She wasn't looking at me like a goddess. She was looking at me like someone who had failed. I swallowed hard. If you're really the moon goddess, then why didn't you save me? The smile on her face disappeared. I couldn't. That answer made something inside me snap. You couldn't. I laughed bitterly. I prayed to you every single night. I begged you to make the bullying stop. I begged you to let someone love me. I begged you to tell me why everyone hated me. Tears filled my eyes. And you never answered. The moon goddess quietly lowered her head. I heard every prayer. That only made me angrier. Then why were you silent? She looked at me with heartbreaking sadness. Because if I had answered, they would have found you. Before I could ask what she meant, she raised one hand. The silver world around us disappeared. Suddenly, I was standing inside a magnificent palace. Everything shimmered beneath moonlight. Silver banners danced in the wind. Children laughed through enormous gardens. Knights wearing glowing armor trained in the courtyard. It looked nothing like the poor little pack I had grown up in. What is this place? The moon goddess smiled. Your home. I frowned. I've never been here. She looked at me gently. No, you simply don't remember. A little girl ran through the palace gardens. She couldn't have been older than 2. She had long black hair, bright silver eyes, and she was chasing glowing butterflies while laughing. I smiled without realizing it. She's adorable. The moon goddess looked at me. Look closer. The little girl turned around. My heart stopped. She had my face. No. I whispered. That's me. My legs almost gave out. I don't understand. I grew up in Silver Moon Pack. I've always been an Omega. The moon goddess slowly shook her head. No, Lyra. You grew up believing you were an Omega. That doesn't mean you were one. Everything around us suddenly changed. The beautiful palace vanished. Dark clouds covered the sky. The sound of swords echoed everywhere. Fire, smoke, screams. Thousands of wolves were fighting. The palace I'd just admired was burning. Children cried. Warriors fell one after another. It felt like watching the end of the world. I instinctively covered my ears. Make it stop. Then I saw them. A man and woman standing at the palace gates. Both wore silver crowns. Both fought like legends. Even surrounded by hundreds of enemies. Neither took a single step backward. They're incredible. The moon goddess smiled sadly. They're your parents. I froze. My parents. I watched my father tear through enemy soldiers with a sword that glowed like moonlight. My mother fought beside him. Every movement looked graceful. Every strike was deadly. For the first time in my life, I wasn't imagining what my parents might have looked like. I was watching them. They were real. And they loved me enough to die protecting me. Then, everything changed. A figure wearing black armor stepped onto the battlefield. His face was hidden behind an ancient mask. The moment he appeared, the entire battlefield fell silent. Even my father stopped fighting. The masked man slowly drew a black sword. The blade seemed to absorb the light around it. My father charged first. Their weapons collided. The impact shattered castle walls. I gasped. I've never seen power like that. The moon goddess whispered. Neither had the world. The battle lasted only minutes. Neither warrior could overpower the other. Then, someone betrayed my father. A knight wearing our own royal armor. Stabbed him from behind. No. I screamed. My father fell to one knee. The masked man drove his sword straight through his heart. My mother let out a scream that still haunts me. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She simply ran toward the nursery. Toward me. She picked up little me, held me tightly, kissed my forehead. Then, she looked straight at the moon goddess. Please. My daughter must live. The moon goddess nodded. I'll erase her scent. I'll seal her wolf. I'll hide her bloodline. No one will ever know who she is. My mother smiled. Thank you. Then, she handed me to the goddess, turned around, and walked back into the burning palace. She never looked back. She never ran. She knew she was walking toward death. And she did it anyway. Because of me. I fell to my knees. I couldn't stop crying. My mother. My father. They died because of me. The moon goddess knelt beside me. No. They died for hope. They believed one day you would reclaim everything that was stolen. I wiped away my tears. Who killed them? The moon goddess became silent. I cannot tell you. Why? Because some truths must be discovered, not given. That answer frustrated me, but something told me she wasn't lying. She reached toward the sky. A silver crown slowly descended. It floated above my head. The air around us grew heavy. This crown has waited 16 years. It only answers to the rightful heir. Heir. The moon goddess looked directly into my eyes. You are not Lyra Ashwood. You are Princess Lyra Celestia, the last surviving heir of the celestial moon kingdom. The moment she placed the crown on my head, agony exploded through my body. I screamed. Every bone cracked. My heart stopped beating. Silver light burst from my chest. Ancient markings spread across my arms. The ground shook. The sky trembled. I thought I was dying again. Then, I heard laughter. Not cruel laughter. Warm laughter. Inside my mind. Finally, a female voice whispered, "You took long enough." I looked around. Who's there? You really don't recognize your own wolf? My eyes widened. My wolf. Silver mist gathered in front of me. A gigantic wolf slowly appeared. She was breathtaking. Her fur looked like liquid moonlight. Her eyes glowed brighter than stars. Behind her, 9 enormous tails moved gracefully through the air. I stared with my mouth open. Wolves don't have 9 tails. She laughed. No, they don't. But queens do. She lowered her head. My name is Celine. I've been asleep inside your soul since the day you were born. I wanted to answer every time you cried. I wanted to protect you. But the moon goddess sealed me. I wasn't allowed to wake. I reached toward her. My fingers touched her nose. She closed her eyes happily. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel alone. The moon goddess smiled. You now possess the strength of your bloodline. But strength alone isn't enough. I looked at her. What do you mean? She waved her hand again. The silver world began fading. You'll return to your own body. But not after your death. My heart skipped a beat. What? You'll awaken. 3 days before the mate ceremony. Everything became silent. 3 days? So, I can change everything? She looked at me carefully. You can. But every choice has consequences. Just before the world disappeared completely, I remembered the question that had haunted me since the beginning. What about Alpha Kale? Was he really my mate? The moon goddess smiled. But this time, there was something mysterious about that smile. Kale was never your true mate. My entire body froze. What? The mate bond you felt was created by someone else. It was fake. My breathing stopped. If he wasn't my mate, then who is? The moon goddess took one step back. Her final words echoed through the silver sky. The man destined to love you has been searching for you for 16 years. A blinding light swallowed everything. I gasped. My eyes flew open. I was lying beside the lake. Alive. No wound. No arrow. No blood. The sun had just risen. 3 days before my life was supposed to fall apart. I sat up slowly, trying to understand what had happened. Then I noticed something carved into the wet ground beside me. 4 words. Freshly written. As if someone had left them only seconds ago. I found you, princess. I looked around. The forest was empty. But, for the first time in my life, I wasn't alone anymore. Somewhere, someone already knew exactly who I was. And they were coming for me. The man who left the message wasn't there to kill me. He was there to protect me. But before he could tell me the truth, someone tried to kill me again. That's when I realized my second life had already begun. I stared at the words carved into the ground. I found you, princess. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear the birds. Only 2 people should have known who I really was. The moon goddess. And me. So who had written this? I slowly reached for the silver dagger hanging from my waist. Every instinct screamed at me to run. Instead, I stepped deeper into the forest. Who's there? I called. No answer. Only silence. Then, a cold breeze brushed against my neck. Someone whispered behind me. You've grown. I spun around and swung my dagger. Clang. Steel crashed against steel. A tall man blocked my attack with a black sword. He wore a silver mask that hid the upper half of his face. Long white hair rested on his shoulders. His eyes. They looked strangely familiar. He didn't attack. He simply looked at me. For a long moment, neither of us moved. Then he did something I never expected. He dropped to one knee. My queen. I blinked. Excuse me? He lowered his head. I've failed you once. I won't fail you again. My grip tightened around the dagger. I don't even know who you are. My name is Ronan. I was captain of your royal guard. I laughed nervously. My royal guard? I grew up cleaning kitchens. I've never had a guard. His expression never changed. Because your memories were sealed. My duty wasn't. I wanted to believe him. But after everything that had happened, trust came harder than breathing. If you're telling the truth, prove it. He slowly reached into his pocket. For a second, I thought he was pulling out a weapon. Instead, he held out a tiny silver bracelet. It had little moon-shaped charms hanging from it. The moment I saw it, a sharp pain shot through my head. Images flashed before my eyes. A woman laughing. A little girl running through a palace. Someone fastening that bracelet onto my tiny wrist. I grabbed my head. What? Ronan looked away. It belonged to your mother. You refused to sleep without it. Tears blurred my vision. I didn't remember everything, but I remembered enough. Before I could ask another question, Celine suddenly growled inside my mind. Move. Without thinking, I jumped sideways. A black arrow flew past my face. It buried itself in the tree behind me. The exact same arrow that had killed me. They found us. Ronan shouted. Run. Dozens of rogues burst from the trees. Their eyes glowed blood red. Their bodies were covered in strange black markings. I counted at least 50, maybe more. The scarred assassin stepped forward. He smiled the moment he saw me. I knew the moon goddess wouldn't let you die. My blood ran cold. It was you. He bowed dramatically. The second death always hurts more than the first. Ronan stepped in front of me. Stay behind me. The assassin laughed. You really think one man can stop us? Ronan sighed. No, I think one man is enough. He removed the glove from his right hand. A glowing silver symbol appeared on his palm. The exact same symbol that had appeared on my forehead in the moon realm. The rogues immediately stopped smiling. No. One of them whispered. The Moon Knight. Ronan lifted his sword. Last warning. Leave. The assassin smirked. Kill them. The forest exploded into chaos. Rogues attacked from every direction. I had never seen anyone move like Ronan. He wasn't fighting. He was dancing. Every swing of his sword knocked another rogue to the ground. Every step looked effortless. Within seconds, 10 rogues were unconscious. Not dead. Just defeated. He was deliberately sparing them. Why? 3 rogues slipped past him. They came straight for me. My heart raced. Normally, I would have frozen. But this wasn't my first life anymore. Celine's voice echoed inside my head. Trust me. I don't know how. Just let me guide you. The first rogue swung his claws. Down. I ducked. The second lunged. Right. I stepped aside. The third attacked from behind. Turn. Without thinking, I spun and raised my dagger. The blade erupted with silver light. One clean slash. The rogue froze. Tiny cracks spread across his body. Then, he dissolved into glowing moon dust. I stared at my own hands. I did that. Celine chuckled. No, we did. The other 2 rogues hesitated. Fear filled their eyes. The princess has awakened. One turned to run. I almost let him go. Then I remembered something. In my first life, I had begged for mercy. No one had shown me any. I pointed my dagger. Stop. The rogue ignored me. Silver chains suddenly burst from the ground. They wrapped around both rogues before I even realized I'd summoned them. They couldn't move. What is this? I whispered. Ronan glanced back. Your royal magic. My what? Every member of the celestial bloodline possesses one unique gift. You command moon chains. The assassin's smile finally disappeared. He looked at me differently now. Not as prey. As a threat. So the rumors were true. You really inherited her power. My heart skipped a beat. Her. He realized he'd said too much. But it was already too late. You knew my mother. He stayed silent. You were there the night she died. His jaw tightened. Still. He refused to answer. Suddenly, a deafening howl echoed through the forest. Every rogue immediately stopped fighting. The assassin looked toward the mountains. No. We're too late. He turned back to me. We'll meet again, princess. This time, I'll tell you the truth. Before Ronan could stop him, the assassin threw a black crystal onto the ground. Dark smoke exploded everywhere. When it cleared, every rogue had vanished. I let out a shaky breath. It's over. Ronan looked anything but relieved. No, this wasn't an assassination. I frowned. What do you mean? They weren't trying to kill you. They were delaying us. A massive explosion echoed from the direction of Silvermoon Pack. Black smoke rose into the sky. My stomach dropped. The pack. We reached the village just before sunset. The sight made my heart sink. Homes were burning. People screamed. Warriors rushed everywhere trying to put out the fires. Children cried in the streets. The rogues had attacked while we were gone. And they hadn't come for food. Or prisoners. They had stolen something. Alpha Kale stood in front of the pack hall. His clothes were torn. Blood covered his face. For the first time, he didn't look like the proud alpha who had rejected me. He looked defeated. His beta shouted. They took the moon crystal. The elders turned pale. One old woman whispered, "We're finished." Kale suddenly noticed me. For a second, he simply stared. His eyes widened. "You." His voice was softer than I'd ever heard before. "You're alive." I forced myself to meet his gaze. Disappointed? Pain flashed across his face. "No. I thought. He stopped himself. I thought I'd lost you. I laughed bitterly. You never had me. Those words hit him harder than any punch. That night, while everyone searched the ruins, I found something strange. Hidden beneath the broken floorboards of the pack hall was an old painting. Half of it had burned away. The surviving half showed 3 people standing together. A king, a queen, and a young alpha wearing the Blackthorn family crest. My breathing stopped. Ronan. He looked at the painting. Then his face lost all color. Impossible. What is it? He whispered something I never expected to hear. Your father trusted the Blackthorn family more than anyone. My mind went blank. What? Which means? His voice trembled. The traitor who destroyed your kingdom wasn't outside the palace. He was already inside it. Before either of us could speak again, someone began clapping. Slow, calm, almost amused. We turned toward the doorway. A tall man stood in the shadows. His face was hidden beneath a familiar black mask. The same mask from my memories. The same mask worn by the man who destroyed my kingdom. He looked directly at me, then slowly removed the mask. I stopped breathing, because the face underneath looked exactly like mine. He smiled. My little daughter. I've waited 16 years for this reunion. The man who destroyed my kingdom looked me in the eyes and called me his daughter. I wanted to kill him, but what he said next made me lower my dagger. If I die before telling you the truth, the real monster wins. I couldn't breathe. The man standing in front of me had my eyes, my smile, even the tiny scar above my left eyebrow. The same scar I'd had since childhood. My fingers tightened around my dagger. You're lying. He smiled sadly. I wish I were. Ronan stepped in front of me. Don't listen to him, princess. The man sighed. Still protecting her after all these years? Ronan's jaw clenched. I should have killed you when I had the chance. The stranger didn't even flinch. Instead, he looked at me. Ask yourself one question. If I'm your enemy, why didn't I kill you 16 years ago? I froze. He was right. If he had truly wanted me dead, why was I still alive? Before I could answer, the ground shook violently. A roar echoed through the mountains. Not from outside, from beneath us. The floor cracked open. Ancient black vines burst from the earth. The entire pack hall collapsed into darkness. Ronan grabbed my hand. Run. But it was too late. A voice echoed from below. Cold. Ancient. Mocking. I've waited 1,000 years. The earth exploded. A colossal creature rose from beneath the village. It wasn't a wolf. It wasn't human. It was a monster made entirely of shadows. Glowing red eyes. Black horns. A body covered in ancient runes. Every wolf in the village fell to their knees. Even Kale couldn't stand. What is that? The masked man whispered one name. The Eclipse King. I looked at him in confusion. I thought you destroyed my kingdom. He laughed bitterly. No, I tried to save it. My entire world stopped. What? He pointed at the monster. That is the one who destroyed everything. The stranger slowly removed the rest of his armor. Underneath, his chest was covered in glowing chains. Not metal chains. Magic. Moon magic. The moon goddess's magic. I wasn't the villain. I was the prison. My eyes widened. What does that mean? For 16 years, I've used my own life to keep the Eclipse King sealed. The attack on the kingdom wasn't a war. It was a sacrifice. Memories suddenly flooded my mind. Not dreams. Real memories. My father, standing beside this man, not fighting him, helping him. My mother crying. The moon goddess chanting. The Eclipse King breaking free. My father shouting. Seal him inside Orion. Orion, the masked man. His name. Not my father. My guardian. The man who had carried the monster inside his own body for 16 years. I fell to my knees. No. I remembered it wrong. Orion looked exhausted. The Eclipse King manipulates memories. He wanted you to hate me, so you'd never discover the truth. I looked at Ronan. He slowly lowered his head. I couldn't tell you. The moon goddess forbade it. Suddenly, the Eclipse King laughed. How touching. Black lightning erupted from his body. Orion screamed. The glowing chains on his chest shattered. One. By one. By one. The prison was breaking. Kale forced himself to stand. His body trembled. Everyone. Protect Lyra. For the first time. He wasn't protecting his title. He was protecting me. The Alpha who had rejected me charged the Eclipse King without hesitation. His beta followed. Then the warriors. Then every wolf in the village. Even the people who had laughed at me. One after another. They stood together. The Eclipse King smiled. You still don't understand. With one swing of his hand, every warrior was thrown aside. Kale crashed into a stone wall. Blood covered his face. He still tried to stand. Again. And again. Until he couldn't. He looked at me. His golden eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry. His voice cracked. I was afraid. I smelled your royal blood that day. My wolf wanted to protect you. But I believed if I rejected you, the enemies searching for the celestial princess would stop looking. I stared at him. So you rejected me. To save me? He nodded weakly. I chose the pack over your heart. I'll regret that choice for the rest of my life. For the first time, I believed him. He had made the wrong decision. Not out of hatred. Out of fear. The Eclipse King laughed. Perfect. Everyone finally knows the truth. Now die together. A sphere of black energy formed above his hand. Large enough to erase the entire village. Thousands would die. Children. Families. Everyone. I closed my eyes. Moon Goddess. I finally understand. I don't want revenge anymore. I just want this to end. A warm voice answered. Then become who you were always meant to be. The silver crown appeared above my head. Celine stepped beside me. Ready. I smiled. For the first time. I really am. She merged into my body. Moonlight exploded across the battlefield. 9 silver tails spread behind me. The sky turned white. Every wolf looked up. Even the Eclipse King stopped smiling. No. The Moon Queen. I floated above the battlefield. Not with anger. Not with hatred. With peace. I looked at the Eclipse King. You've stolen enough. He attacked first. Black flames covered the sky. I didn't dodge. I raised one hand. The flames transformed into moonlight. He attacked again. I erased the darkness. Again. And again. Until he realized something terrifying. His power couldn't exist. Where my light reached. He roared and charged at me. Our powers collided. The explosion lit up the entire continent. For a moment, everything disappeared. Then, silence. When the light faded, the Eclipse King was gone. Not destroyed. Purified. The darkness inside him had vanished forever. Everyone stared at me. Waiting. Expecting me to become their queen. Their ruler. Their goddess. Instead, I walked toward Kale. He lowered his head. I don't deserve forgiveness. No. You don't. I smiled softly. But I also don't deserve to carry hatred forever. He looked up. Hope flickered in his eyes. I forgive you. His face brightened. Until I continued. But forgiveness isn't the same as a second chance. His smile disappeared. I've already found the future meant for me. Kale closed his eyes. A single tear rolled down his cheek. I understand. For the first time, he accepted my decision. Not as an alpha, as a man who had learned too late that love cannot survive fear. I turned toward Ronan. He smiled. So, what now, Your Majesty? I laughed. No kingdoms. No throne. No revenge. We build something better. A place where no child is ever treated the way I was. He extended his hand. I took it. Together. We walked away from the ruins. Not as queen and knight, but as two survivors determined to build a new beginning. Months later, the Silver Moon Pack elected a new council. No alpha would ever again have absolute power. Every orphan was given a home. Every Omega received the same training as future alphas. The cruel traditions that had destroyed so many lives ended with my story. As for me, I rebuilt the Celestial Kingdom. Not as an empire, but as a sanctuary where strength was measured by compassion, not bloodline. People still ask if I regret the day my mate rejected me. I always give the same answer. No, because if he hadn't broken my heart, I never would have discovered who I truly was. And sometimes, the greatest blessing in your life arrives disguised as your greatest heartbreak. Thank you so much for listening till the end. If you love this story, then stay tuned for the next story. You can also comment any story suggestions you have. Subscribe to Reddit Drama Stories so that you will be notified when I will upload new video. Until then, sending you lots of love.